Babe, I know why you guys are dealing with a lot of these seriously demonic people. Because they're beautiful. They're beautiful. That's why. That's why you tolerate that, because they're pretty. So my name is Bisque Dolly and I read Sorta Okay Online for you. This is going to be the chapter 13 summary of The Picture of Dorian Gray. Now, if you like something spooky, if you like something gothic, if you like the whole idea of someone living forever and has like a cursed object boarded up in their mansion, then this book is for you. There is so much subtext in this book that the layers, I might not cover all of it. So where did we last leave off? Okay, in chapter 12, Basil Hallward, Dorian's best friend, says, oh my God, only God can see your soul. Because he's like, all these people are gossiping about you, like they know you. They don't even know you. Like only God can judge you. Only God can see your soul. Who are these people to say bad things about you, bestie? So naturally, Dorian is like laughing maniacally because over time he's been becoming really evil. You know, he's like very narcissistic. He is like a gothic kind of Black Mirror type of like take on the whole old mythology of Narcissus and Echo. So I'm like, okay, like everybody loves him. He's super charming. He's super pretty. He's very popular. But everybody that comes across him now has like had something bad happen to them, or like he's ruined their reputation in some kind of way. It's a mess. By the way, this is like before plastic surgery. It's the 1890s and Dorian is practically ageless. He is 38 years old at the time in which Basil Hallward comes to his home to tell him the terrible news about all the gossip being spread about in town. So that's enough of a recap, right? So Dorian is like, oh yeah, only God can see my soul? Well, come follow me up the stairs to the boarded up room where that spooky, cursed, possessed painting you made of me is. And that's where they went. That's where they went. Okay, they went there. He finally shows someone the portrait, okay? He's been obsessed about people finding out his deep, dark secret. But when Basil says that only God can see one's soul, it like triggers him. He's like, I have to show you now. Oh my God. And I think initially it's because he knows that this is going to shock and terrify him. And I think he's only doing this on the basis of shocking and terrifying Basil. So Basil follows Dorian, up the spooky stairway into the room where like that painting is. And lo and behold, it's like the whole room has changed. All that's left in there is a small table with a lantern, a chair facing the portrait. It's almost as though now it kind of shows you that Dorian just sits there and stares at the portrait. The rest of the room is empty. It's just the chair, the painting, and a small side table. Imagine that. Imagine just like being so obsessed with something so cursed. One of the things I've been kind of like trying to like throw out there is that obviously Oscar Wilde is saying that like certain aspects of your personality are going to show up on your face. Not just age, and the regular wear and tear of being an aging human, but also like your emotions and your personality. And if your personality is very dark, very, very evil, right, it's going to show up on the face. Another thing is another layer of subtext, is that this portrait, this demonic, shameful secret of Dorian's is stored away in a place where he spent most of his innocence. And I think this is kind of like a metaphor of one's own psyche. Most of the time, the thing that we're most ashamed about is being locked away internally with the parts of ourselves that are the most vulnerable. And that type of vulnerability causes people to get triggered, causes people to lash out. Think about how people are when it comes to handling their vulnerability. Never easy, usually insecure. And if, you know, the person is, let's say, narcissistic, because the internet loves that word these days, that type of vulnerability is something that their psyche is so shut off from that, like, they will fly into a fit of rage rather than actually have a more stable response to those vulnerabilities. Empathy is a gift. It's a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse. It truly is. An additional layer of subtext, in my opinion, is that this portrait is actually the human side of Dorian. I know that I've been making jokes saying that the picture has a demon in it and like it's possessing the painting, you know, ooh, demons. But as you see this grotesque creature in the painting, in the portrait, you can't help but feel like that's more human than Dorian. I mean, like, you think about it, right? Like, what makes humans humans? Our flaws, well, the fact that we're not perfect. You know, it is our imperfection. It is the fact that we age. It's the fact that we make mistakes, that we're cruel, that we've been unkind and untrue. These are all human qualities. And maybe they're not the most beautiful of qualities, but they are human. You know, people get afraid. People do things out of greed and selfishness, out of jealousy, out of addiction. You name it. You know, think about those qualities that we often are shamed for having been a part of us, you know. That is where our humanity lies, and we should have a lot more self-compassion for it. Maybe then we could address the problems, work on them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But you see Dorian, and he's stunning. He is gorgeous. He is beautiful, ageless, charming. When he sleeps, he looks like an angel. And he sleeps so good at night, like so good at night. You know, it's this idea that, like, maybe beauty isn't all that it's cracked up to be, at least by this definition of hedonism that was rampant throughout Europe at the time in the 1890s. You know, it's not like Epicurean hedonism. This type of self-centered hedonistic belief and school of thought was just really centered around, like, that time and the people of that time. Think about it, 1890s, that's like post-colonial Europe. I mean, they're still colonizing. We're not going to discredit what happened to, like, South America during that time, or what was happening to Central America or Africa or India, right? Wait, let me rephrase that. That type of practice of hedonistic values coming from, like, post-colonial, still colonial era was basically like, you know, I'm gonna do this no matter who it hurts, no matter if it hurts me, if it comes from a place of pain or sorrow. A very selfish practice of hedonism, not real hedonism. Gonna do part two.